How the fatal Rust shooting unfolded, moment by moment here, based on a search warrant affidavit and 911 calls, is a moment-by-moment account of what happened that day. A sudden shot rang out on set. The crew was filming last Thursday at Bonanza Creek Ranch, a Western movie set outside Santa Fe, New Mexico. In the film, Baldwin plays a grizzled outlaw on the run from authorities with his 13-year-old grandson. Mornings typically started with breakfast at 6:30 a.m., but that day they were behind schedule. A 6-person camera crew had recently walked off the job, complaining about pay and housing, and a new crew had been brought in. But even with the delay, things appeared to be going smoothly, Director Joel Souza told Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputies in the affidavit. Baldwin and crew members began rehearsing a scene in the rustic church, broke for lunch, and then returned to the set. Baldwin, dressed in Old West clothes, was huddled with Souza, cinematographer Helena Hutchins, and a few others inside the simple wooden structure. One camera was set up, but because they were just rehearsing, nothing was being filmed or recorded. Assistant Director Dave Halls fetched a prop gun from a cart outside the church and yelled "cold gun," indicating it was unloaded. He then handed it to Baldwin, who sat in a church pew facing the camera and crew.
It was about 1:50 p.m. Souza told deputies he was viewing the scene through the camera and nearby monitors when he heard what sounded like a whip and then a loud pop. Hutchins stumbled backward and slumped to the floor, clutching her stomach and saying she couldn't feel her legs. Souza, who had been standing beside her, noticed blood on his shoulder. Suddenly, there was chaos. A script supervisor called 911 crew members scattered. A medic tried to stop Hutchins' bleeding while others frantically dialed 911. In a 911 call, a woman who described herself as the film's script supervisor told the dispatcher what had happened. A director and a camera woman have been shot. The 911 operator asked if the prop gun was loaded with a real bullet. "I cannot tell you that," the woman said. "We have 2 injuries from a movie, gunshot. I was sitting, we were rehearsing and it went off, and I ran out. We all ran out." They were doubled over, the camera woman and the director. The caller then began cursing at an unidentified person about gun safety on the set. Then came another 911 call, this one from an unidentified man on the set. The dispatcher told him an ambulance was on the way. She also offered to give instructions on how to stop the victim's bleeding. The caller told the dispatcher that a medic on set was helping treat those who were shot. A cacophony of voices could be heard in the background. Investigators seized Baldwin's clothes. Sheriff's deputies arrived shortly afterward. Hutchins, 42, was airlifted to a hospital some 55 miles away in Albuquerque, where she was pronounced dead. Souza, 48, suffered a gunshot wound to his right shoulder and is recovering. Investigators also found 2 other prop guns, a Western-style gun belt and some ammunition. It remains unclear what was in the gun that Baldwin fired. Detectives learned the armorer, Hannah Gutierrez, had laid 3 prop guns on the cart before Halls, the assistant director, grabbed one and handed it to Baldwin. Souza, the film's director, told investigators he believed the gun was unloaded and safe. In the affidavit, detectives sought a search warrant to seize more items as evidence, including firearms and ammunition, cameras, memory cards and computers. The film industry is mourning Hutchins, who was seen as a rising talent in Hollywood. Baldwin has said he's heartbroken. The Bonanza Creek Ranch, which has been used for dozens of Western-themed movies and TV series, including Lonesome Dove and Cowboys and Aliens, now sits deserted. The production team said it's halted filming on Rust at least until the investigation into the shooting is complete. 5 days later, there are still more questions than answers.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe